Hello, Facebook land. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks, guys. I haven't jumped on in a while. I'll be honest, we've got a lot going on here at the house. It's just been too crazy. We're trading a new puppy. We're doing construction out in the front, which you'll probably hear. That's still going on. You're going to probably hear some banging out there. And the kids are home schooling because Ontario is, well, in Canada, we're still schooling our kids from home. And although they were going to get back, and there was rumors they were going to go back for the last month of school, that is not happening. So it's kind of been a lot just going on, and it just wasn't ever shaping up to be ideal, right? Anyway, I'm happy to be back. I know that it seems like even with you, you might feel that the consulting thing goes in waves. So I want to just take some pressure off of you and just remind you that that is okay. It is okay if one week you feel on top of your game, the next week things don't seem to line up as well. There are going to be weeks where you're going to get multiple requests and you're going to feel like you're just sharing your expertise in the world, like everybody wants a piece of you and everybody needs what you have. And then there's weeks that it won't feel that way, and it's okay. Sometimes it's seasonal depending on your industry, and sometimes it's just what you're going through in life. So I just wanted to remind you of that. And I also had something come up in a feed, in a conversation in a different group I'm in. And I had it come up today, and I thought this is a great one to jump in here for whoever's here, either live or if you're catching this on the replay. And it was someone who had a really good question, Chris, and I'm new to this coaching. I'm new to coaching. I'm new to what I'm doing here as far as putting myself out in the world as an expert. And he's having people question, if he's legit, because when they Google me, he says, when they Google me and they can't find much, how can you quickly establish legitimacy? And what a great question. And I feel like if you're struggling with this too, there's two things that are either happening. Either number one, you are brand new at this, which can be a lot harder. For example, if you just, chose something to jump into, which is not a lot of the time the cases I jump in and work with, but it's fine. If you choose something to jump into, in terms of a coaching role, and you have no credibility to back it up, no examples to use, that's going to be very hard to establish yourself as an expert out of the gate. I'm just going to be straight up, okay? You're going to have to rely on either a lot of time, money, or resources and really fancy marketing to kind of get your name out there. Now, that to me, the reason we don't always start there is because we build experts, right? We build people that are going on a different track. They want their expertise to shine. They want to be actually booked and paid as an expert in their field. Now that's scenario number one. But number two, such as what was Chris's issue, is he's been doing this for a while, but this is the first time he's stepping into a coaching space, or it's the first time he's been even questioned on his legitimacy. I mean, when you have a job that you've been doing for so long, your boss doesn't come in every year and be like, hey, what have you done this year? Prove yourself. I mean, you have reviews, but they're not often questioning you. Even like on a resume for a new job, you don't often come to a situation where people, well, hopefully it's a really stringent interview, good vetting process, but that's really the only time that you actually have to kind of prove yourself. So when you step into this format, and anytime you're doing things like I'm doing here or going live, it's really, really key. If you're not really establishing that baseline as your thought leadership foundation, and the fact that this is why I'm speaking about this, this is what my bio says, these are my topics that I'm great at, and this is the expertise and data to back this up, you're going to have a harder time. But to answer Chris's question, I pointed out a few things that just off the cuff he could start doing right away. And my first one is get your one thing. Okay, get your one thing. You really have to establish your secret sauce, your superpower, your target audience. And I speak to this a lot. We're covering it broadly, but once you get that one thing, okay, you really have to lock in, be firm about it, and think about what is the best thing I'm able to solve. And you may have to start really narrow if you don't have any other stuff on the internet backing you up. Just go in strong, okay? The second thing is start talking about it. So pick your one thing and just start. We are all, or some of you are all, if you don't have the credibility of a former company or a former blog, or if, like myself, you've been doing this for on the same track for 25 years, 20 years, you may not have those Google hits coming up, because maybe this is a new spin on something you've always been doing. And that's okay, all right? The beauty news is this is the internet. This is the age of content. And while we don't want to contribute to content overwhelm, there are very cool ways and easy ways to get very good messages out in front of people very quickly. So to establish legitimacy, that credibility, when they Google you, start. The other thing was be everywhere. So when you don't, again, I'm speaking if you don't have anything to back you up, you do want to choose 1 or 2 channels and be there consistently often. When you, and I'll get to the last thing, which is repurposing content. It's going to be important. But first, be consistent. You have to get in a routine. You have to do that. The third thing is use examples. You either, if this is something new-ish to you, you have to either use all of your own personal experience and keep talking about that to have your audience understand she knows or he knows what he's talking about. And the other thing where you're using examples is it's examples of those you've already helped. And I don't care if you've helped 1 or 2 people. Talk about those cases in a new way. You've got to start talking about it in a new way, but keep going back to this is why this helped this person. This was this person's issue. This is something I was dealing with day in, day out, how I got myself out of it. So just use examples. All right. The fourth thing is brand yourself accordingly and make it look good. And again, I'm speaking if you have no other things following you on the internet, like Chris said, if people are Googling you and nothing's popping up, the first thing you want them to see, whether it's a YouTube channel or a really well branded, Facebook group, or your first crack at a blog, or just even like a landing page type of blog format website where your thoughts can be somewhere published, you want it to look good. That first impression means a lot, and it's just the way it is. And again, we're talking about establishing legitimacy quickly, because a lot of you don't have time to build these 10-year internet careers where Google's been on you all this whole time, and you need to establish these quick wins. So what have we done so far? Get your one thing and start. Be everywhere. Choose your channels. 3, use good examples. And if you don't have a lot, just talk about your own example, life experience, or your clients you've helped. And then 4 is brand yourself accordingly, make it look good, right? Invest in the branding person, invest in the designer if you're really struggling in this area. And 5, consistency, okay? You have to be on every day, and you also have to back yourself up with data. Now, this is something I add into my specialty courses. This is kind of my kind of pièce de résistance is with my clients. What we do is we get into the industry to extract certain talking points, data, and trends that line up with exactly their skill set that makes them automatically legitimate, because they're speaking to what's happening now, whether it's in business, healthcare, technology, female entrepreneurship, health, whatever it is. You have to have the data to get immediacy in the legitimacy quickly. A talking head, and you're going out there, and yes, you're being consistent. You need the stats to back it up. And if not, you need the examples of the people you're working with to back it up. So those are a few things that, to Chris's question, and maybe to some of you, I wanted to talk about because it's true, people are going to Google you. People will Google you, and what if they don't find much? How can you establish this start to build this trail of credibility? Now, the advantage that a lot of my clients get is that once they have those few tools in place, it's just a little system that they actually just have to apply every day, and it actually covers their expertise, their marketing, and then it goes into their funnel and how they make money off of their skill set. So whether that's your coaching, whether that's your course, whether that's your clients you're helping online already, but you have to bump up your credibility to be seen among others. Like it's a matter of where you need to be just as much as what you say. So I really want to have more conversations about this with you. And if you are either worried about this or if you are struggling with this, so I want to kind of like, you can just, reach me in the DMs. This is all about establishing that quick legitimacy. And I want to just make a point too that obviously if you've been on here and catching a few of these lives for a while, you know that we're not about the quick win. You'll know that what I do in both the group but also with clients is very much about building your legacy, right? Building it properly from the start so that you can keep building on this. Build towards the career you want. No, it doesn't have to take long, but it's the building blocks that determine how long it takes. You can start this on your own, but I find what people find is when they don't have help, they keep questioning themselves. They take one step forward and 3 steps back because they're either editing or questioning, or they don't have the foundation. So they're taking much, much longer, and they're kind of getting some wins, but for the most part, they feel like they're pushing and selling, and then they get panicky. On the opposite end, when you build a foundation in thought leadership and you have all the tools set out from the beginning, what you can accomplish in a year, let's say even like 3 months with this system, is 10 times more valuable and impactful towards your legitimacy, your credibility, right? Your authority than anything else. So I want you to think about that and put some questions too, like either in comments as if you're looking at this later, or just DM me like Chris did and just ask like some of the challenges you're going through as you're starting this journey. So I love to answer these questions, and thanks for tuning in. I hope you're having a wonderful start to this June, and whatever that means for you, whether that means summer is like maybe summer's a lesser time for you, like you kind of slow your business down, but maybe summer is a time of focus for some reason where you just really, because of your industry, put the pedal to the metal and want to start making impact. Either way, we're here for you, I'm here for you, and I'd love to answer any of your questions. So please do use that. And I'm going to sign off now, but we'll come back to you either this week or next week. I'm going to try my best to keep coming live in this group a couple times a week. And hello to all new members, and we'll talk to you guys again real soon. Take care.